My beloved child, pause your racing thoughts for just a moment. What you are feeling right now, the sudden pull to stop, the strange warmth in your chest, the sense that time is pressing in, that is not random. This is a divine interruption. This Christmas, a message is being released, and it is not meant for everyone. Most will scroll. Most will doubt. Most will leave before the door fully opens. But you are still here because heaven counted you worthy to hear what others will miss. Listen carefully. This is not just a holiday message. This is a call wrapped in mercy, warning clothed in love, a reminder hidden inside wonder. Jesus is speaking in a way you did not expect, and even the familiar symbol of Santa is being used as a sign, because God often hides eternal truth inside what the world thinks is ordinary. Tonight, heaven is leaning close. Beloved soul, Christmas was never about noise, gifts, or rushing through moments. It was always about arrival. Jesus did not come loudly. He came quietly, humbly, in a moment most people overlooked. And even now, he still speaks that way. Dove. Vleer. Personal. Those who are impatient miss him. Those who assume they already know the story stop listening too soon. And that is why this message matters. You see, Santa has always been a symbol of expectation. Children stay awake, hearts racing, waiting for something unseen. They believe before they see. They prepare before proof arrives. Jesus is saying, that posture of faith you had as a child, I need you to recover it now. Because what I am about to release in your life cannot be received by cynicism. It requires wonder. My dear one, this Christmas is different for you. The past months have tested you. You smiled in public, but questioned God in private. You celebrated others while silently wondering when it would be your turn. And Jesus saw that. He never once looked away. He stored every tear, every whispered prayer, every moment you almost gave up but didn't. This is why heaven is speaking now. Do not think it is an accident that you are hearing this message near Christmas. This season amplifies truth. Light exposes what darkness tried to hide. And Jesus is revealing something crucial. There has been a delay, but not a denial. What you thought was silence was actually protection. What felt like waiting was preparation. Most people won't stay long enough to hear this next truth, but you must. Jesus says, I am about to restore meaning to something you stopped believing in. For some, it is joy. For others, trust. For others, hope itself. The world taught you to grow up and stop expecting miracles. Heaven is teaching you to grow deeper and expect them again. And now hear this carefully. Santa, the giver of gifts, is a reminder, not a replacement. Jesus is the source. Santa points to generosity. Jesus is generosity. Santa arrives once a year. Jesus abides forever. The symbol exists to awaken the heart. The Savior exists to transform it. This Christmas, Jesus is not asking what you bought. He's asking what you believe. Beloved child, there is a door opening soon. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. It will look small at first, easy to dismiss. That is why many will miss it. But if you stay attentive, if you keep watching, you will recognize it instantly, because your spirit will respond before your mind understands. Jesus says, do not rush past this season. There is alignment happening right now. Relationships are being repositioned. Opportunities are being rearranged. Even delays are being recalculated in your favor. What felt like loss will soon reveal itself as redirection. And let me tell you something sacred. This message is time. If you had heard it earlier, you would not have believed it. If you hear it later, you would miss your moment. But now, at Christmas, when heaven touches earth, your heart is finally ready. Most people won't stay long enough because patience is rare. Faith is rare. Stillness is rare. But you are still listening. That alone marks you. Jesus is smiling at you right now. Do not let familiarity steal reverence. Do not let distraction steal destiny. Stay with this message. There is more unfolding, more clarity, more confirmation. And what comes next will connect pieces of your life that never made sense before. This is not coincidence. This is invitation. And before you move on, receive this quietly in your spirit. You have not been forgotten. You have not been overlooked. You have not missed your chance. Christmas is not over for you yet. Beloved one, there is something stirring beneath the surface of this season, and Jesus wants you to notice it before the world distracts you again. Christmas is not passing you by. It is passing through you. That quiet restlessness you feel is not anxiety. It is anticipation. Heaven is preparing your heart to receive what cannot be wrapped, boxed, or explained easily. This is why the message feels urgent. This is why your spirit feels alert. You are standing at the edge of revelation. Jesus says, "Many hear my name during this season, but few hear my voice." The noise grows louder every year, but truth still whispers. Santa, once again, becomes a sign for those who can see. Children listen for footsteps. They scan the darkness with hope. They believe someone is coming even when the room is still. Jesus says that kind of faith moves heaven. That kind of expectation unlocks doors adults forgot existed. This Christmas, you are being asked to listen like that again. You may not realize it yet, but something you prayed for casually is about to be answered intentionally. Heaven has been watching your consistency, even when you felt unnoticed. The prayers you whispered late at night, the ones you thought were too small or too repetitive, were not ignored. Jesus has been aligning details behind the scenes, waiting for the exact moment when your heart would be strong enough to carry the answer. Beloved, timing is not punishment. Timing is protection. There is a reason this message comes now. Some things could not manifest earlier because they would have distracted you from growth. Other things had to wait because the people involved were not ready. Jesus says, "I was not withholding, I was preparing." And now, the preparation is reaching completion. Santa's story speaks of reward, but Jesus speaks of relationship. Gifts excite for a moment, presence transforms forever. And this Christmas, Jesus is offering presence in a deeper way. Not just comfort, but clarity. Not just peace, but direction. The confusion that lingered over your next steps is lifting. The fog is thinning. Soon, what felt uncertain will become obvious. Hear this carefully. You are not behind. The world loves to measure life by milestones and deadlines, but heaven measures by obedience and growth. Jesus is not comparing you to anyone else. He is only asking whether you are listening now. And you are. That is why this message is finding you. Some of you have been carrying guilt for things already forgiven. Others have been carrying fear about things that will never happen. Jesus says, lay them down. This season is about release. When a child waits for Santa, they do not worry about how the gift will arrive. They simply trust that it will. Jesus is inviting you back into that simplicity, not ignorance, but trust. And now, beloved, let this moment seal something important. If this message is resonating, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video as an act of agreement. Share it with someone whose heart had been heavy this season. Leave a comment declaring that you are ready to receive what heaven is releasing. And if this channel has been feeding your spirit, subscribe and stay connected, because these messages are not random. They are part of a divine sequence meant to walk with you. Jesus says, "When you honor what I am doing, I multiply it." There is also a subtle warning wrapped in love. Do not rush past the season trying to get to the next one. The breakthrough you want in the new year is being conceived now. What you nurture in stillness will be born in motion. That is why distraction feels tempting. That is why impatience is knocking. But stay present. Stay open. Stay listening. Something is being restored in you that the world tried to harden. Beloved child, you are closer than you think. The door is not far away. The answer is not distant. The joy you assumed was lost is quietly returning. Jesus is not asking you to perform or prove anything. He is asking you to receive, to believe again, to wait with expectation instead of worry. And before you move on, hold on just a little longer. What is unfolding next will connect this message to a very personal area of your life in a way you did not expect. My precious child, lean in closer now, because what Jesus is revealing in this moment is not meant for the surface listener. This is for the one who stays. This is for the one whose spirit has been quietly asking, "Is there more than this?" And the answer from heaven is yes. There has always been more, but now you are finally positioned to receive it. Jesus says this Christmas marks a turning point, not because the calendar changes, but because your heart has. You have been softened by trials, refined by waiting, and humbled by unanswered questions. What once would have distracted you can no longer satisfy you. That is why this message feels different. That is why it feels personal. Heaven does not speak randomly. It speaks relationally. There is something important Jesus wants you to understand. Santa represents the promise of provision, but Jesus is revealing the purpose behind it. Provision without purpose leaves people empty. Purpose with provision changed into duration. And this is the Christmas where Jesus is shifting you from asking only, "What will I receive?" to understanding, "To who am I becoming?" Beloved, you have been in a season of inner preparation. While you thought nothing was happening, heaven was doing deep work. Old mindsets were being dismantled. Hidden wounds were being touched. Faith was being rebuilt quietly, brick by brick. That is why this message had to come now. Any earlier, and it would have been information. Now, it is revelation. Jesus says, "I am restoring trust between us." Some of you stopped expecting because disappointment taught you to protect yourself. You learned how to survive without hoping too much. But Jesus never asked you to live guarded. He asked you to live anchored. And this Christmas, He is inviting you back into expectation, not childish fantasy, but mature faith. The kind that believes even when it cannot see immediate proof. Hear this clearly. You are not too late, and you are not disqualified. There are blessings that only arrive when the heart is ready to steward them. You are stepping into that readiness now. That is why memories are resurfacing. That is why old dreams feel alive again. That is why you suddenly feel drawn to prayer, stillness, and reflection. This is alignment. This is divine timing. Beloved one, Jesus is also correcting a misunderstanding. You thought the waiting meant you were forgotten. But waiting was actually evidence of trust. Heaven trusted you enough to prepare you slowly. The world rushes people into collapse. God develops people into stability. What is coming into your life needs a strong foundation, and Jesus has been building it carefully. And now, there is a release happening. This Christmas carries a blessing that does not announce itself loudly. It arrives gently. It will look like peace before it looks like progress. It will feel like clarity before it feels like celebration. Do not underestimate subtle shifts. The biggest transformations often begin quietly. Jesus says, "Watch your reactions in the coming days." What once triggered fear will no longer have power. What once tempted you will lose its grip. What once confused you will start to make sense. This is how you will know the message hath been received. And now, before moving forward, heaven asks for a response, not to earn anything, but to agree. Type "I receive the Christmas message" in the comments if this is speaking directly to your spirit. Blessing code 2459 is being released over those who receive with faith. This word you are receiving is not meant to stop with you. Jesus is using this channel as a river, and rivers must flow to stay alive. When you support this work through super thanks, membership, or even a PayPal seed from the link in the description, you are not funding a video. You are sowing into souls that are still waiting to hear what saved you from giving up. The Lord is saying to you right now, "What you place in my hands, I will multiply back to you in ways money cannot explain." This is a moment of holy obedience, not hesitation. As you give, I speak blessing over your home, clarity over your decisions, and increase over your faith. Do not delay. Respond now and let your seed become light for someone else who is still in the dark. Beloved child, what comes next will bring even deeper understanding. Stay open. Stay listening. Heaven is not finished speaking. Beloved soul, take a deep breath and steady your heart, because what is unfolding now goes beyond encouragement. It moves into protection and direction. Jesus is not only speaking comfort in this season, he is also sending guidance. And where guidance is needed, heaven often sends a guardian. This is where the presence of Archangel Michael quietly enters the story, not with fear, but with strength. Archangel Michael stands as a reminder that spiritual battles are not always loud. Many of the greatest conflicts happen internally, in thoughts, decisions, and moments when no one else is watching. Jesus says you have been protected more times than you realize. Doors that almost opened but didn't. Conversations that almost happened but were delayed. Paths that looked right but never aligned. This was not luck. This was divine intervention. This Christmas, you are being made aware of protection you already walked through. You may have wondered why certain plans fell apart at the last moment. Why some people drifted away without explanation. Why opportunities vanished just as you reached for them. Jesus says, "I blocked what would have broken you." Archangel Michael was assigned to stand in places you never saw, guarding outcomes your heart was not ready to handle yet. Beloved, this is not to make you fearful of what could have happened, but grateful for what did not. Here's a shift now. Protection is turning into positioning. Defense is becoming direction. You are no longer being held back. You are being guided forward with precision. This is why discernment is increasing. You are sensing things before they happen. You are feeling when something is off. You are no longer forcing connections that drain you. That is growth. That is spiritual maturity. Jesus says you are learning to listen faster. Santa, once again, becomes a quiet symbol here. Children know when it is time to go to bed, not because they see Santa, but because they trust the process. They prepare the space. They make room. They step into rest, believing something good is coming while they sleep. Jesus is inviting you into that same posture, not passivity, but trust. Preparation without panic. Archangel Michael's role reminds you that you are not walking alone. When doubt whispers, truth stands guard. When fear tries to revisit old wounds, strength intercepts it. When confusion tries to cloud your next step, clarity is already on its way. Heaven is not reacting late. It is arriving right on time. Beloved child, there is also a warning wrapped in this message, and it is gentle but firm. Do not ignore the small nudges. Do not override your peace to please people. Do not minimize what your spirit is clearly signaling. Jesus often speaks softly because he trusts you to listen carefully. Archangel Michael reinforces what Jesus reveals by protecting what you choose to obey. You are entering a season where obedience will feel lighter, not heavier. This is because alignment is replacing resistance. You are no longer fighting every step forward. The inner war is settling. The need to prove yourself is fading. The pressure to rush is lifting. That is how you know heaven is involved. God's guidance brings peace even before results appear. There is something specific Jesus wants you to hear now. You are being prepared for responsibility, not just blessing. What is coming will require wisdom, patience, and courage. That is why this refining had to happen first. That is why protection surrounded you so closely. Heaven protects what it plans to entrust. Archangel Michael does not arrive where there is no purpose. Beloved, watch how the coming days unfold. You may notice sudden clarity about a decision you've delayed. You may feel peace about letting something go that once felt essential. You may feel drawn to prayer at unexpected moments. These are not interruptions. These are invitations. Jesus says, follow the peace, not the pressure. And remember this, Christmas is not only about what arrives, it is about what leaves. Old fears are leaving. Old narratives are leaving. Old limitations are leaving. You are not losing anything of value. You are shedding what can no longer travel with you. Archangel Michael's presence assures you that what you release will not return to harm you. It has already been dealt with. The past no longer has authority here. Only wisdom remains. Beloved one, as you continue listening, know this. What is being built in you now will soon be visible around you. Inner alignment always precedes outer change. Stay attentive. Stay grounded. The next revelation will bring practical clarity that connects directly to your daily life, and when it does, you will understand why this moment mattered so much. Beloved child, there is a quiet recalibration happening inside you right now, and Jesus wants you to recognize it before you mislabel it as confusion. What you are feeling is not instability, it is transition. When heaven shifts a person from survival into purpose, there is always a moment where the old no longer fits and the new has not fully appeared. This space feels uncomfortable, but it is sacred. Jesus says, do not rush to define what I am redefining. You are noticing that things which once excited you now feel empty. Conversations you once tolerated now feel heavy. Goals you once chased no longer carry the same pull. This is not loss of passion. It is refinement of desire. Your spirit is being upgraded, and upgrades always require a pause while systems realign. This Christmas season is marking that pause. Santa's imagery once again becomes symbolic here. Before gifts are placed, the house grows quiet. The lights dim. The world sleeps. Stillness is not absence. It is preparation. Jesus is teaching you that rest is not a reward for finishing everything. It is a requirement for receiving what comes next. Beloved, you have been strong for a long time. You learned how to endure, how to adapt, how to keep moving even when answers were unclear. But endurance is no longer the primary call. Alignment is. Jesus is not asking you to push harder. He is asking you to listen deeper. This is where many miss their moment. People often mistake movement for progress, but heaven moves with intention, not urgency. The slowing you feel right now is not delay, it is precision. God is aligning people, timing, and conditions in a way that cannot be rushed without damage. Jesus says, "What I am building in you now must last." Beloved child, there is also healing happening at a level you may not consciously recognize yet. Old disappointments are losing their emotional charge. Memories that once carried pain now feel distant. You are not suppressing them. You are outgrowing them. This is a sign of spiritual maturity. Healing is not forgetting. It is remembering without bleeding. And as this healing deepens, your discernment sharpens. You are beginning to sense when something is not meant for you without needing an explanation. You are learning to say no without guilt. You are choosing peace over proving a point. These are not small changes. These are markers of a person stepping into authority over their own life. Jesus says, "You are learning to steward your energy." This matters because what is coming will require clarity. The next season of your life will not be about reacting. It will be about choosing. And you cannot choose well if you are still entangled in old emotions, old expectations, or old fears. That is why this internal reset is happening now. Beloved, do not misinterpret the quiet as emptiness. Heaven is doing some of its deepest work when things look calm on the surface. Roots grow underground before fruit appears above. The world celebrates fruit, but God values roots. This Christmas, your roots are deepening. There is also a gentle correction Jesus wants to offer. You do not need to have everything figured out to move forward. Obedience often comes before clarity. Faith often moves before certainty. The child who waits for Santa does not need to understand logistics. They only need to trust that the arrival is real. Jesus says, "Trust me with the how." Your responsibility is not to force outcomes. Your responsibility is to remain receptive. Pay attention to what brings peace, even if it challenges logic. Pay attention to what drains you, even if it looks good on the outside. Heaven often speaks through peace before it speaks through opportunity. Beloved one, there is a sense of identity settling into you now. You are no longer asking, "Who am I trying to become?" You are beginning to ask, "Who am I called to be?" That shift changes everything. Becoming is exhausting. Being is anchored. And from this anchored place, action becomes clearer. Jesus says you will not have to chase what is meant for you. What belongs to you will recognize you. What aligns with your calling will feel natural, not forced. What is from God will carry confirmation, not confusion. As this part of the message closes, rest in this truth. You are exactly where you need to be. Not behind. Not forgotten. Not wasting time. Heaven's timeline is unfolding with precision, and you are moving in step with it, even when it feels slow. Stay open. Stay grounded. What comes next will bring external confirmation to the internal work that has been happening, and when it does, you will understand why this season of quiet was so necessary. Beloved one, what Jesus is unfolding now moves from inner alignment into outward readiness. The quiet work inside you is beginning to reflect in your decisions, your conversations, and even your reactions. This is not accidental. When heaven prepares a person, it does not only change what they feel, it changes how they move. You are stepping into a phase where your choices will start carrying unusual weight and unusual favor. Jesus says, you are being trusted with influence, even if it does not look like it yet. Influence does not always begin with visibility. Often, it begins with responsibility. The way you handle disappointment, the way you speak when you are misunderstood, the way you wait when you could rush. These moments shape capacity, and capacity determines how much heaven can release through you without crushing you. This Christmas season is training your discernment in subtle ways. You may notice that you are less reactive than before. Things that once pulled you into emotional cycles now pass without hooking you. This is not numbness. This is authority. Jesus is teaching you how to remain steady even when circumstances shift. That steadiness will become a refuge for others later. Beloved, there is also a new sensitivity developing in you. You are becoming more aware of timing. You feel when it is time to speak and when it is time to stay silent. You sense when to move and when to wait. This is spiritual wisdom forming. It cannot be rushed, and it cannot be taught by books alone. It is learned through walking closely with God. Jesus says, "You are learning my rhythm." Santa's symbolism still echoes here. The joy of the season is not in the rush of opening gifts, but in the anticipation that builds beforehand. Anticipation stretches the heart. It makes space. It prepares gratitude. Jesus is doing the same with you. He is stretching your capacity to receive without anxiety. Beloved one, do not underestimate this season just because it feels ordinary on the surface. Ordinary moments are often where extraordinary alignment happens. Heaven does not need spectacle to move powerfully. It needs agreement. And your spirit is agreeing, even when your mind still has questions. Here is also a refinement happening in how you see yourself. Old labels are losing authority. You are no longer defining yourself by past mistakes or missed chances. Jesus is reminding you that identity precedes assignment. You are not becoming someone new. You are remembering who you were always called to be. Jesus says, you are not rebuilding from scratch. You are restoring from truth. This is why comparison is fading. You are less interested in what others are doing and more focused on what feels right for you. That focus will protect you. Distraction steals energy. Alignment multiplies it. Beloved, hear this clearly. You are entering a season where obedience will bring faster confirmation. When you follow peace, results will follow more quickly than before. Not because life becomes easy, but because resistance is decreasing. Heaven is opening pathways that were previously blocked by timing, not by worthiness. And now, pause with me for a moment. If this message has been guiding you, strengthening you, and bringing clarity to your spirit, respond to it. Like this video as a sign of agreement with what Jesus is doing in your life. Share it with someone who feels lost or weary this season. Leave a comment declaring that you are ready to walk in alignment. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel and stay connected, because these messages are unfolding in sequence, and each one builds on the last. What you engage with, you give permission to shape you. Beloved child, hold on, because what comes next will begin connecting this spiritual preparation to very real, practical areas of your life, decisions, relationships, and opportunities. This is where the message becomes tangible. Jesus is not only speaking to your spirit, he is preparing your steps. You may soon notice doors opening that once felt sealed, or you may feel peace about closing doors you kept trying to force open. Both are signs of guidance. Do not mourn what closes if peace accompanies it. Heaven removes what no longer serves your future. Jesus says, I am simplifying your path. This simplification will bring focus. Focus will bring confidence. Confidence will bring momentum. And momentum will bring visible change. But it all begins here, with listening, with agreement, with trust. Beloved, you are not walking blindly. You are being led intentionally. Even the pauses are purposeful. Even the waiting is working. Stay present. Stay attentive. The next revelation will make clear how this inner shift translates into outer movement, and when you see it, you will understand that nothing in this season was wasted. Beloved child, what Jesus is unveiling now is a deeper layer of understanding about why this season had to unfold the way it did. You may have questioned the pace. You may have wondered why clarity came slowly instead of all at once. But heaven was not delaying answers. It was protecting your focus. Some truths arrive gradually so they do not overwhelm the heart. And now, you are ready to see more clearly. Jesus says, I was teaching you how to walk by trust, not by control. There was a time when you needed to understand everything before taking a step. You wanted reassurance, confirmation, and certainty before moving forward. But faith matures when it learns to move with partial light. Just enough illumination for the next step, not the entire path. This is how dependence on God deepens. This Christmas message carries that lesson gently but firmly. Santa, as a symbol, never shows up early. The anticipation is part of the process. Waiting stretches belief. He reveals what the heart truly trusts. Jesus allowed you to wait not to test you but to strengthen you. Waiting taught you patience. Silence taught you listening. Uncertainty taught you surrender. Beloved, you are no longer the same person who entered this season. There is a new calm in you. Not because all questions are answered, but because fear no longer dominates the unknown. You are learning that God's presence does not disappear just because clarity is not arrived yet, and that realization changes how you face tomorrow. Jesus says, you are beginning to trust me with outcomes, not just intentions. This is important because the next phase of your life will require courage. Not reckless courage, but steady courage. The kind that moves forward without applause. The kind that chooses integrity even when shortcuts look tempting. The kind that remains grounded when success finally arrives. Beloved child, you are being shaped for consistency. There is also something being healed in how you relate to time. You used to feel pressure to catch up, pressure to make up for lost years, pressure to prove that the waiting was worth it. Jesus is removing that pressure. He is teaching you that nothing is wasted in his hands. Even detours and wisdom. Even delays add depth. You are not behind schedule. You are on assignment. This shift will soon affect how you make decisions. You will feel less rushed. You will feel less reactive. You will choose with intention rather than impulse. That alone will save you from many unnecessary struggles. Wisdom often looks quiet, but it produces lasting peace. Jesus says, you are learning to value alignment over approval. That means you will not be understood by everyone. Some people will question your choices. Others will not recognize the growth because it happened internally. But heaven sees it clearly. And heaven rewards obedience even when it goes unnoticed by people. Beloved, do not shrink yourself to fit old expectations. You have outgrown some spaces, and that is not arrogance. It is maturity. Growth always creates distance from what no longer aligns. Jesus is not asking you to abandon people, but he is asking you to stop abandoning yourself. This is where inner authority begins to form. There is also a sharpening of discernment happening now. You're beginning to recognize patterns. What drains you, what restores you, what leads you closer to peace, and what pulls you into confusion. This awareness is a gift. It will guide you as opportunities increase. Jesus says, not every open door is yours, and the truth will protect you from burnout and regret. You no longer need to chase everything that looks good. What is meant for you will carry confirmation, peace, and timing that aligns without force. Beloved child, there is something powerful about what you are becoming in stillness. The world celebrates noise, speed, and visibility. Heaven celebrates depth, patience, and faithfulness. You are being shaped by heaven's values, not the world's pressure. This Christmas message is not ending with inspiration. It is building foundation. Soon, you will notice changes in how others respond to you. Some will seek your counsel. Others will sense stability in you without knowing why. That is because what God builds internally eventually becomes visible externally. Jesus says, "You will carry peace into wombs that once stole it from you." This is influence, not forced, not loud, but undeniable. Beloved, as this part of the message settles into your spirit, remain open. Do not rush ahead mentally. Let the truth sink deep. The next revelation will bring clarity about purpose and direction in a way that feels grounding, not overwhelming. You are not walking alone. You are not guessing blindly. Heaven is guiding each step with intention. Stay receptive. Stay listening. What is unfolding is far greater than you imagined, and it is arriving in the only way that would truly sustain you. Beloved child, what Jesus is releasing now goes beyond preparation and enters the realm of confirmation. This is the moment where heaven begins to whisper, "You are ready, even if your mind is still catching up." The long inner work, the waiting, the refining, the quiet obedience, all of it has been leading to this threshold. You are not stepping into something unfamiliar. You are stepping into what have been forming inside you all along. Jesus says, "What you carry now can sustain what I am about to entrust." This is important because many people desire change without capacity. They ask for doors to open without realizing the weight those doors carry. But you have been trained in stillness, strengthened in patience, and grounded in discernment. That is why this message has followed a sequence. Heaven builds carefully, not hastily. This Christmas season has not just been symbolic, it has been strategic. Santa, once again, reflects a hidden truth. The joy of Christmas morning is not created in the moment of opening gifts. It is built in the waiting, the believing, the preparing of the heart. Jesus is showing you that what is coming will feel joyful not because it is sudden, but because you are finally aligned with it. Beloved, there is a sense of spiritual authorization being released now. You may feel more confident saying no where you once over-explained. You may feel more peace choosing rest where you once felt guilty. You may feel more clarity about what truly matters. This is not selfishness. This is stewardship. You are learning to guard what God has placed in you. Jesus says, "You are no longer led by fear of loss, but by clarity of purpose." That shift alone will change how you walk into the next season. You will not grasp. You will not chase. You will discern. And discernment is power that moves quietly but effectively. There is also a restoration happening in how you see yourself through God's eyes. Shame is losing its voice. Regret is loosening its grip. You are no longer replaying old mistakes to define your worth. Jesus is reminding you that redemption does not erase the past, it redeems it. Even your hardest seasons now carry wisdom instead of pain. Beloved child, this is why peace is increasing. Peace is not the absence of problems, it is the presence of trust. You are trusting God with outcomes you once tried to control. That trust is opening spiritual doors that effort never could. Jesus says, "I can move quickly now because you are no longer resisting." This does not mean everything will change overnight, but it does mean movement has begun. Subtle shifts will accelerate. Small confirmations will multiply. Conversations will align. Opportunities will surface naturally. What once felt stuck will begin to flow. And now, heaven asks for a response that seals this moment. Type "I am ready" in the comments if you receive this message in your spirit. Blessing code 8631 is being released over those who step into agreement. This message is reaching you because someone chose to sow so the light could keep flowing. And now, the Lord is placing the same invitation in your hands. When you support this channel through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal seed from the link in the description, you are not supporting content. You are advancing a calling. God is saying to you right now, as you sow into this river, I will cause it to return to you pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing in areas you did not expect. This is a prophetic act, not a casual decision. Your obedience in this moment releases momentum in both the spiritual and the natural. I speak blessing over every giver, peace over your household, and increase over your discernment. Act now, and let your generosity become a doorway for others who are still waiting to hear God's voice. Beloved child, what comes next will bring even greater clarity about where this path leads. Stay open. Stay present. Heaven is still speaking, and you are exactly where you need to be. Beloved one, what Jesus is revealing now brings focus to the road ahead, not as a distant vision, but as a path unfolding step by step beneath your feet. The confirmation you have received was not meant to inflate confidence. It was meant to anchor direction. When heaven confirms readiness, it also clarifies responsibility. And you are entering a season where your choices will shape outcomes more directly than before. Jesus says, I am inviting you into partnership. Partnership means you are no longer waiting passively for things to happen. You are responding actively to guidance. Not striving, not forcing, but cooperating. This is a shift many people desire but few sustain, because partnership requires consistency. It asks for daily listening, daily surrender, daily alignment. This Christmas message now matures into a daily walk. Santa's symbolism fades here, not because it loses meaning, but because the waiting phase has taught its lesson. Belief has been strengthened. Expectation has been refined. Now movement begins. Just as morning follows night, action follows preparation. Beloved, do not expect the next steps to look dramatic. Heaven often moves in ordinary settings, conversations, small decisions, quiet opportunities. But do not mistake ordinary for insignificant. God's greatest works often unfold through consistent obedience in small moments. Jesus says, faithfulness opens doors that excitement never could. There will be moments where you feel tempted to rush ahead. You will see others moving quickly and wonder if you are falling behind. Resist that comparison. Speed does not equal alignment. The path you are on is custom-fitted. What works for others may not sustain you. Beloved child, there is a sharpening of focus happening now. Distractions that once pulled at you are losing their appeal. You are becoming more intentional with your time, your energy, and your attention. This focus will protect what is being built. Jesus says, I am teaching you to guard your gates. What you allow into your mind, your heart, and your environment matters more than ever now. Not because you are fragile, but because you are carrying something valuable. Stewardship increases when value increases. This season may feel quieter socially. You may feel less interested in certain environments or conversations. That is not isolation. It is concentration. Even Jesus withdrew before major movements. Solitude prepares strength. Beloved, there is also a recalibration happening in your expectations. You are learning to celebrate progress instead of perfection. You are honoring consistency over intensity. This will sustain you long term. Jesus says you are learning to walk, not sprint. Walking allows you to notice details. It allows you to adjust when needed. It allows you to remain present. Sprinting exhausts. Walking builds endurance. As you walk forward, you may notice that some people no longer walk with you. This can feel uncomfortable, even painful. But release them with peace. Not everyone is meant to accompany you into every season. Some are assigned for a chapter, not the entire book. Beloved child, do not interpret distance as rejection. Sometimes distance is protection. Sometimes it is alignment. Jesus removes what cannot go where he is taking you. And hear this clearly. You are not losing community. You are being repositioned for it. New connections will come, ones that resonate with who you are becoming, not who you were. Jesus says, I am aligning your environment with your future. This alignment will not always feel dramatic, but it will feel peaceful. Even change will carry calm. That is how you will know it is from God. Beloved, as you move into this next phase, keep your posture humble and your spirit teachable. Readiness does not mean arrival. It means responsibility. Stay grounded in prayer. Stay open to correction. Stay responsive to peace. What you are stepping into will require integrity more than talent, character more than charisma, consistency more than intensity. Jesus says what lasts is built slowly. As this part of the message settles, do not rush to interpret everything. Let it breathe. Let it settle into your daily life. Watch how opportunities begin to align without force. Watch how clarity continues to unfold. The next revelation will speak directly to momentum and how to sustain what God is building without burning out or losing focus. You are not only moving forward, you are learning how to remain steady while doing so. Stay listening. Stay aligned. Heaven is still guiding each step. Beloved child, what Jesus is unfolding now speaks directly to momentum. How to carry forward what heaven has started without losing balance, peace, or clarity. Momentum from God is not frantic. It does not rush you into exhaustion. It moves with rhythm. And learning that rhythm is what protects you in seasons of increase. Jesus says, I am not calling you to hurry. I am calling you to remain. Many people lose what God gives them because they mistake acceleration for success. They move faster than grace, faster than wisdom, faster than alignment. But you are being taught something different. You are being taught how to move steadily, attentively, and with discernment. That is why your journey has been slower than others. Heaven was training you to last. This Christmas message now becomes practical. You are stepping into days where more will be asked of you, not because God is demanding, but because you are capable. Opportunities will require decisions. Conversations will require wisdom. Invitations will require discernment. And you will not have the luxury of reacting impulsively, but you will have the grace to respond intentionally. Jesus says, I have prepared you for sustainable growth. Beloved, notice how your priorities are rearranging themselves. You are less drawn to chaos. You value peace more deeply. You are protecting your time and energy more intentionally. This is not withdrawal, it is wisdom. You are learning what deserves access to you. Santa's symbolism has served its purpose. Anticipation has trained your heart. And now, discipline sustains your joy. The child who once waited now learns how to steward what arrives. Jesus is guiding you into stewardship. There is also a shift happening in how you measure success. You are no longer asking, how much can I do? You are asking, what am I called to do well? That question will save you from burnout. It will keep you aligned. It will protect your peace. Jesus says, focus is favor in disguise. Beloved child, there may be moments soon where you feel tempted to overextend yourself. You will want to say yes to everything because it feels like progress. Pause in those moments. Listen. Peace will guide you. What is from God will not pressure you to rush your response. And hear this carefully. Rest is not disobedience. Rest is strategy. Jesus often withdrew before major movements. Not because he lacked power, but because he honored alignment. You are being invited into that same wisdom. Balance will sustain what excitement cannot. Beloved, if this message hath been strengthening your walk and grounding your spirit, respond to it now. Like this video as a declaration that you are choosing alignment over anxiety. Share it with someone who is feeling overwhelmed by transition. Leave a comment affirming that you are committed to walking steadily, not hurriedly. And if you have not yet subscribed, do so and stay connected, because this channel is not about momentary inspiration, but about walking with you through seasons of transformation. Hold on, because what Jesus reveals next will bring a powerful shift in how you view what is ahead, and you will not want to miss that clarity. Jesus says, I am teaching you how to carry blessing without strain. This is crucial. Many people receive good things but lose themselves in the process. Heaven does not want that for you. What is coming is meant to enhance your life, not consume it. That is why boundaries are becoming clearer. That is why your discernment feels sharper. Beloved, trust the process that has brought you here. You have not been wasting time. You have been learning timing. And timing is everything in the kingdom of God. You will soon notice that progress feels calmer than you expected. Less dramatic. More grounded. That is a sign of maturity. Growth no longer needs to announce itself loudly to be real. Jesus says, you are learning to walk in quiet confidence. As this part of the message settles, let it anchor you. Do not look for constant excitement. Look for steady peace. That peace will guide you through decisions, changes, and new opportunities. The next revelation will speak directly to legacy. What your obedience now is creating beyond what you can see. Stay open. Stay listening. Heaven is still speaking, and what comes next will deepen your understanding of why this journey matters so much. Beloved child, what Jesus is revealing now lifts your vision beyond the present moment and anchors it into something eternal. This is where understanding deepens, because you begin to see that your journey was never only about you. Every step, every delay, every quiet correction carried purpose far greater than immediate comfort. Heaven had been shaping legacy, not just outcome. Jesus says, your obedience today is answering prayers you did not pray. This is difficult to grasp at first, because the human mind measures life in short chapters. But God writes in generations. The patience you learned, the discernment you gained, the peace you chose, none of it ends with you. What you are becoming now will influence lives you may never meet, in ways you may never fully see. This Christmas message now reaches its deeper meaning. The childlike faith symbolized through Santa taught expectation, awaiting taught trust, the preparation taught stewardship. And now, Jesus is showing you that all of it was building a foundation strong enough to carry impact. You are not just being blessed, you are being positioned. Beloved, legacy does not always begin with visibility. It begins with consistency. How you speak when no one is applauding. How you choose integrity when compromise feels easier. How you remain faithful when results are slow. These unseen moments carry more weight in heaven than public victories. Jesus says, I measure faithfulness differently than the world. You may have thought your life needed to look more impressive by now. You may have felt pressure to produce something tangible that proves your growth. But heaven already sees evidence. Growth in character, growth in wisdom, growth in discernment. These are the markers God values most. There is also a healing happening in how you view significance. You are no longer chasing importance. You are embracing purpose. That shift changes everything. When purpose leads, peace follows. When importance leads, pressure follows. Jesus is freeing you from pressure-driven living. Beloved child, you are stepping into a season where your presence alone will minister to others. Not because you have all the answers, but because you carry stability. People will sense safety around you. They will trust your words because they feel grounded, not reactive. Jesus says, "What I have done and you will speak louder than what you say." This is legacy in its purest form. There will be moments when you wonder if your obedience truly matters. When progress feels slow. When change feels subtle. In those moments, remember this: seeds do not look like harvest while they are underground. But that does not mean nothing is happening. Roots grow before fruit appears. Beloved, heaven is patient because heaven sees fully. You are also being invited into a deeper understanding of responsibility. Responsibility is not burden, it is trust. God does not entrust lightly. What He places in your care, relationships, influence, opportunities, comes with grace to steward it well. Jesus says, "I would not entrust this to you if you were not ready." This truth should bring peace, not pressure. There is also a refining of motive happening now. You are less concerned with being seen and more concerned with being aligned. That purity of motive will protect your heart as your influence grows. It will keep you grounded when affirmation comes and steady when criticism appears. Beloved child, notice how fear no longer drives your decisions. Caution remains, wisdom remains, but fear is losing authority. You are no longer living defensively. You are living intentionally. That is a sign of spiritual maturity. Jesus says, you are learning to live from identity, not insecurity. This identity will anchor you through seasons of change. When things shift, you will not panic. When uncertainty arises, you will not collapse. You will return to truth. You will listen. You will move with peace. As you reflect on this message, understand that nothing about your journey was random. Even the parts you questioned were shaping strength. Even the waiting was building wisdom. Even the silence was teaching you how to listen. Beloved, legacy does not announce itself loudly. It unfolds quietly through faithful living. The final revelation will bring this entire message into alignment and seal what has been spoken. It will not introduce something new. It will bring completion, clarity, and release. Stay present. Stay receptive. Heaven is about to speak one final word over this season, and it will rest deeply in your spirit. My beloved child, this is the moment where heaven brings everything into completion. Not an ending of the journey, but the sealing of a season. Jesus is not speaking something new now. He is confirming what has already been formed within you. What you felt shifting, what you sensed aligning, what you could not fully explain but deeply knew, is now being established in truth. Jesus says, this season has accomplished what it was sent to do. You were not merely passing through Christmas. Christmas passed through you. Faith was restored. Trust was rebuilt. Discernment was sharpened. Identity was anchored. And now, you stand different than you did before you began listening. Even if your circumstances have not fully changed yet, you have. And that change is permanent. Beloved, The greatest work God does is never external first. He begins within, because whatever transforms the inside will eventually reshape the outside. You are carrying a new steadiness now, a quiet confidence, a peace that does not depend on immediate outcomes. That peace is not passive, it is powerful. Jesus says, you are no longer waiting for permission. You are walking in alignment. This alignment will guide your steps beyond this moment. When confusion tries to return, peace will correct it. When fear tries to whisper, truth will silence it. When impatience tries to rush you, wisdom will slow you. You are not guessing anymore. You are discerning. This is the true gift of this message. Santa's symbolism fades completely now because the lesson has been fulfilled. Expectation led to trust. Trust led to preparation. Preparation led to stewardship. And stewardship now leads to impact. You no longer need reminders to believe. You carry belief naturally. Beloved child, Jesus wants you to hear this clearly. You are not fragile. You are fortified. The trials that once threatened to break you became the training that built you. What once drained you now teaches you boundaries. What once confused you now sharpens your discernment. Jesus says, you are standing stronger than you realize. Do not underestimate the authority that comes from lived obedience. You did not just hear truth, you stayed with it. You allowed it to shape you. Most people walk away too early. You did not. That alone sets you apart. There will be days ahead where you remember this season, not with longing, but with gratitude. You will recognize how perfectly timed it was, how necessary the stillness was, how intentional the waiting was. And you will smile, not because it was easy, but because it was worth it. Beloved, the next steps will not require striving. They will require attentiveness. Continue to listen. Continue to choose peace. Continue to walk in integrity even when shortcuts appear. What God is building through you will last, because it was built His way. Jesus says, remain rooted, and you will remain fruitful. Now, before this message fully seals, heaven invites you into one final act of agreement. Type I walk in alignment in the comments if you receive this word completely. Lesson code 9417 is now activated over those who respond in faith. I am speaking directly to you. This work, this word, this river of truth does not flow by accident. God is using it to reach souls who were moments away from giving up. When you release support through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal seed using the link in the description, you are not giving money. You are sowing light into darkness. The Lord says, as you release into my work, I will release back into your life provision, clarity, and peace that no one can take from you. This is a prophetic response, not a suggestion. I speak blessing over every giver, multiplication over your obedience, and protection over your household. Act now, and let your seed speak long after this moment ends.